Senate will come back to order. Senator from the 3rd, you're going to present all the bills. Still a couple hours early. You get the Silver Star Award. Go see the secretary over here. He'll give you your plaque. The Senate is back in order and will begin taking up business. If you're a senator and hear my voice, come to the chamber. Nothing would make me happier than adjourning right now. Senator from the 3rd, you want to make a motion? That would be a problem. We haven't got the budget yet. Yeah, easy. For what purpose does the senator from the 17th rise?
Mr. President, I move that the Senate adjourn until 10 a.m. on Monday, April the 4th, 2022.
We'll stand at ease for 1 minute while we contemplate that motion.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Here's how this works, and I hate to be grumpy, but it's Friday night, and I've got a family that's waiting to see me, and I'm not going to sit here all night and stare at empty desks. We said 30 minutes, it's 30 minutes. If I call your number and your bill is up to speak and you're not in your desk, we're going to move on. Okay? Fair enough. I don't see anybody disagreeing with it. Chair recognizes the senator from the 46th, from Athens.
Yes, sir. What we got? All right.
House Bill 1516.
Be right there. Thank you.
It's on the table.
I move that we remove House Bill 1516 from the
Mr.
table.
Secretary, read the caption.
House Bill 1516, a bill by Representatives Gaines of the 117th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 10 of Article 7 of Chapter 3 of Title 12 of the OCGA relating to the Georgia Music Hall of Fame Authority so as to provide for definitions, to provide for the continuation in office of the members of the authority, to provide for membership, appointment, and qualifications, to repeal provisions relating to joint operation between the Georgia Music Hall of Fame and the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Committee of the Senate on Economic Development and Tourism recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Thompson of the 14th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from the 46th has moved that House Bill 1516 be taken from the table. Is there objection? Chair hears none. It's taken from the table. The chair recognizes the senator from the 46th to speak to the measure. Mr. Secretary, will you read the amendment first?
Mr. President, Senators Mullis of the 53rd and others offer the following amendment to amend House Bill 1516 by replacing lines 2 through 7 with the following. Annotated relating to the Georgia Music Hall of Fame Authority so as to revise the corporate purposes and the general powers, to provide for related matters, to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. By replacing lines 12 through 89 with the following. 12-3-523 relating to the corporate purpose and general nature of business as follows. 12-3-523, the corporate purpose and general nature of the business of the authority shall be 1. Housing the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. 2. Advertising and promoting the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. And 3. Promoting music events at the Georgia Music Hall of Fame and throughout the state. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 46th to present House Bill 1516.
Thank you, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. We had, for many years, the Georgia Music Hall of Fame was based in Macon, Georgia, and had a facility down there that was open to the public. During the recession, that closed down, and their community was given the opportunity to continue with their Hall of Fames if they would fund them. I said Hall of Fames because they also had the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame, and the Macon community has continued to fund that and keep that facility open. On the other hand, the Music Hall of Fame was closed, the property was sold, all the artifacts and memorabilia were taken to Athens to the Special Collections Library of the University of Georgia, where they have been stored in temperature-controlled environment there so they won't deteriorate or rot or anything like that, so they'll still be available for the citizens of Georgia to use. Recently, the Classic Center, which is the convention center there, many of you have enjoyed conferences there, have embarked on an expansion, and they have asked to be able to house the Georgia Music Hall of Fame there and again display it to the citizens of Georgia. So we're working towards that goal. And that's what this bill does. It allows the Classic Center Authority to be the home of that, and it also keeps the current members of the authority in office through June the 30th of 2022 of the authority, at which time some new members will be appointed, 2 of whom will be members of the Athens community, to be able to keep this great collection of artifacts open. Now, I've just seen the amendment, but it looks to me like it, as far as I can tell, essentially guts the bill, which reverses that and leaves these decisions up to others. And I'm not certain what that is or where that's coming from, but I don't really see much reason to pass the bill if you're going to pass the amendment. So I would oppose that. Happy to take any questions that the body may have.
You don't appear to have any questions.
Yeah. Thank you. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 53rd to speak to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Georgia Music Hall of Fame has been in limbo for some time, especially from the Great Recession. The equipment, the paraphernalia, the history, like Greg Allman's Hammond B3, and there's no telling what Johnny Mercer has there, and just so much other wonderful thing. It's been mothballed at the University of Georgia, which is not a bad thing. Now there's momentum to create another Music Hall of Fame that the state won't be running for their money. It will be in a collaboration with a third party. The process for putting the wonderful historic equipment out where people can see would be to address it to the Georgia Music Hall of Fame Authority. Now, I would have to say that hasn't been in action for a long time, mainly because of COVID, mainly because we've lost a lot of, well, our major financial person, Dr. Bobby Bailey, had passed away, and she is a wonderful woman dedicated to the musician and all the wonderful equipment that was part of the Music Hall of Fame, but it shut down in Macon a long time ago. Now, I haven't heard anything about this bill till the other day in the ante room and really didn't pay attention. I made a comment to the senator from the 46, but I really wasn't paying attention to that. And then I saw the bill today, and I am the chairman of the Georgia Music Hall of Fame, and I've not been talked to about any of this. So the amendment puts it back into the, I guess, the breast of the Music Hall of Fame Authority where it should be. But my dear friend wants to put it in Athens and then lower the committee and put Athens people in charge of it, and I just don't think that's appropriate. I would prefer to keep it on the table or just vote for the amendment, and I'd be glad to answer any questions. I'm trying to keep my composure because I love my friend from the 46, but he's doing that bait and switch around me here, but I'm here. If I
Chair-
can answer any questions.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 29th.
Does the chairman yield?
I do.
Chairman, could you tell us what your vision is for this stuff and this
Yeah.
extremely important artifacts
Well,
from our great state?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to try to interrupt you. There are a lot of great stuff there. And it should have been displayed somewhere long ago, but nobody has asked for that. It's been mothballed until we wait for somebody to step up and either build a facility where it can be successful or properly display that, which is always available if they go through the right channels, and that'd be the Georgia Music Hall of Fame Authority. But that hadn't happened. We have a piece of legislation here that just dominates it and let the city of Athens be in control of it because it'd be at the Classic Center. So I just don't think that's the right thing to do. We have beautiful, wonderful music from all sorts of places in Georgia. Macon, where a lot of things started, sitting on the dock of the bay, I wish I was right now. Or in Macon again, where Brother Greg Allman and the great Allman Brothers Band created their great psychedelic music. Probably, I don't know what they were taking back then, but it was wonderful. Johnny Mercer in Savannah. Ray Charles, born and grew up a little bit in Albany. It's just all over Georgia. So I think it should be shared at the right place, that we would have the most people seeing it and living it and loving it. I think I over-answered my
Chair
question.
recognizes the senator from the 46th with a question.
Yes, sir.
Chairman Yield.
I will.
Chairman, you recognize that this bill has not changed one bit since when it came over from the House, right?
Yeah, but that's the first time I've seen it was today.
And you recall our conversation where I shared with you, would be more than delighted to share these materials with the Grammys Hall of Fame and anywhere throughout the state of Georgia if we can just get them displayed, correct?
Well, I'm not against displaying it, and I can't really remember our conversation. I've been overloaded lately.
Would you-
But yes, sir.
Senator Further Yield,
Yes, sir.
would you object to us tabling this bill, give you and I time to try to work out these details?
I would be
to your
delighted to
satisfaction?
have such a love affair with you in regarding this great piece of legislation.
I think I would enjoy that also.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. President, I'm not sure what to do, dance a jig or lay down and break dance. I'm not sure. So I will.
Change the subject.
Let's see. Is there any other questions? I yield the well. And
Senator, can you,
If the
You have
president
questions.
recognized me, I would move to table the bill to give me and my dear friend from
Chair, now, that proper time
Oh,
would be
finish.
now. The chair recognizes the senator from the 46th for a motion to place on the table House Bill 1516. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and House Bill 1516 is placed on the table. Chair recognizes the senator from the 45th for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would like to remove from the table House Bill 1194.
Mr. Secretary, please read the caption.
House Bill 1194, a bill by Representative Crowe of the 110th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 40-1-8 of the OCGA relating to safe operations of motor carriers, commercial motor vehicles, and drivers, and safe transportation of hazardous materials, so as to update the reference date to federal regulations regarding the safe operation of motor carriers and commercial motor vehicles and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Transportation recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ginn of the 47th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from the 45th has asked for unanimous consent that House Bill 1194 be taken from the table. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it's removed from the table. The chair recognizes the senator from the 45th to present the measure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Colleagues, I bring before you House Bill 1194. This legislation represents the state's annual adoption of the federal regulations relating to the safe operation of commercial motor vehicles. Mr. Chairman, if there's no questions, I'll yield the well.
You don't appear to have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the motion? The chair sees none. The senator from the 45th has... Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 49, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair recognizes the senator from the 1st.
Mr. President, I would like to raise House Bill 203 from the table.
Ms. Secretary, please read the caption.
House Bill 203, a bill by Representatives Petrie of the 166th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 40-2-86 of the OCGA relating to special license plates, promoting or supporting certain worthy agencies, funds, or nonprofit corporations with proceeds dispersed to the general fund and the agency, fund, or nonprofit organization, so as to establish a specialty license plate to benefit the Tybee Island Historical Society and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Public Safety recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Alvarez of the 56th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from the 1st has asked that House Bill 203 be raised from the table. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it has been raised from the table. The chair now recognizes the senator from the 1st to present the bill.
I think I got it. Yes, this says it all right here. This is House Bill 203 by my counterpart in the House for the Tybee Island Historical Society. We had a contest, and this lovely license plate won, and I must say it looks like something that should sell very well. We have committed the appropriate number of license plate sales, and I would love to have your favorable consideration for this worthy license plate. I'll be happy to entertain any questions at all, Mr. President.
You have no questions.
Oh, my goodness, I'm sorry, but I want your favorable consideration. Thank you so much.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 203? The chair sees none. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. As a reminder to this body, this requires a 2/3 vote. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. For what purpose does the senator from the 26th rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry, sir.
Mr. President, isn't it true that in 1992, I made one of the worst votes that I have made in the General Assembly?
I assume that to be true. I was a junior in high school.
Isn't it also true, isn't it true that Governor Miller and I sparred over the lottery?
Certain the gentleman knows of what he speaks.
Which I have been supporting all the years until 92. Isn't it also true that what I wanted was a carve-out for small and minority businesses because of the amount of money that would be spent with the lottery? Isn't it also true that Governor Miller then said he wouldn't agree to that, but he would make sure that it would happen? And I didn't go along with him on it. He came to my office, and I refused to go along and voted against the lottery. Isn't it also true that the lottery has been one of the best things to happen to Georgia for students who could not afford to go to school, who had grade points? And isn't it also true it was first need based, but it got so popular that everybody said that, well, if my kid got the A and B, to be able to go to college and get it paid for, then they wanted their kids to go to school then, which then it was K to Bordeaux. It was open to everybody. And the reason, isn't it true that the reason I'm saying this is that we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to do something now to help Georgians with health care, mental health, and all of the other problems that we have in this state, because isn't it true that with the exemption of veterans, retirees, that's $70 million. And isn't it also true that if we had another tornado that go through southwest Georgia, like it did, that our coffers won't be full, and we won't be able to do the things for the citizens of Georgia? And isn't it also true that House members need to be listening because they're holding up progress? And isn't it also true that we have a plan that will work, that will give the opportunity of Georgians to vote, not to have to go to Wetumpka, Alabama like I do, not have to go to Cherokee, North Carolina like I do, and not have to go to Vegas like I do. So isn't it true that the state of Georgia at this particular time can realize revenue that will help us with our general coffers? And isn't it also true the government runs off gold and not water?
Isn't it also true that the senator from the 26th appears to like gambling? Thank you for your great passion. I appreciate your point. Chair recognizes the senator from the 53rd.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that House Bill 1283 be taken off the table.
Ms. Secretary, please read the caption.
House Bill 1283, a bill by Representatives Douglas of the 78th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 15 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the OCGA relating to miscellaneous provisions under the Quality Basic Education Act so as to provide for recess for students in kindergarten and grades 1 through 5 and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Rules recommends that this do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Millis of the 53rd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Rules offers the following substitute to House Bill 1283, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 15 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the OCGA relating to miscellaneous provisions under the Quality Basic Education Act so as to provide for recess for students in kindergarten and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
The powerful Rules Chairman has asked that House Bill 1283 be taken from the table. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it's taken from the table. The chair now recognizes the senator from the 53rd, who appears to be bringing the rules book with him.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not going to read it, but let me find it. What is that, 1283? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been here before with this bill, and we have it perfected. So the governor will sign it. And this is simply from Representative Douglas. You know, he's a big Georgia football player, got a great physique, and that's what happens if you have recess. You develop people with great physiques. This is what happens if you don't have recess. So to have a better Georgia, a Georgia that has physically fit children that learn better, that achieve more, not just athletics, but in peace of mind and quality of life, this bill is essential to pass to make sure that happens. There's some inner city schools that don't have recess. My schools, I had an A+ in recess and horticulture and senior study committee and library aid. I achieved A+ in all those major subjects. Okay, that was kind of funny, but y'all are not paying attention. All right, I didn't hear anything. But I would appreciate your vote on this to move our children forward, to make sure they have the exercise they need outdoor when the weather permitting to achieve a great quality of life and a higher education. Mr. President, I'd be glad to answer any questions. It'd be my pleasure and delight.
You do not have any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your vote on this today.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 1283? The chair sees none. Is there objection agreeing with the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. For what purpose does the senator from the 20th rise?
Parliamentary inquiry,
State your
please.
inquiry.
Isn't it true that Ryder Duncan supports this bill?
He certainly does.
All right.
State your inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a great bill, no matter who did it. And I want to commend the senator from the 20th, who is the lieutenant governor's floor leader. That was well said.
I thought you were. I didn't know I had two. For what purpose does the senator from the 20th rise?
Inquiry.
This better be good. He's on a roll.
Isn't it true that at this late hour and after all the stress and strain we've been under, y'all can kiss my recess?
Didn't see that coming. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 54, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. And yes, Ryder Duncan will be very happy. He actually told his teacher the other day this bill was coming. Chair recognizes the senator from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that House Bill 1344 be taken from the table.
Ms. Secretary, please read the caption.
House Bill 1344, a bill by Representatives Clark of the 147th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 45-2-9 of the OCGA relating to state agencies not to discriminate in employment against servicemen's wives so as to provide for updated language regarding spouses of armed forces service members and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Veterans, Military, and Homeland Security recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd Chairman. Mr. President, Senators Jackson of the 41st and others offer the following amendment to amend House Bill 1344 by replacing lines 1 and 2 with the following: to amend Title 45 of the OCGA relating to public officers so as to change provisions relating to payment of indemnification for death or disability, and to provide for by replacing line 7 with the following: Title 45 of the OCGA relating to public officers is amended by revising Code Section 45-2-9 relating to state agencies by inserting between lines 20 and 21 a new section 1.1 to read as follows, and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 14th to speak to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is very simple. All this does is a housekeeping bill that changes wife to spouse in the anti-discrimination law so that all spouses of service members are protected from employment discrimination based on their status. And there is an amendment, and I see it as a favorable amendment. With that, I'll yield well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 41st to speak to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the senator from the 14th for letting me tag along here. We've already passed this bill in this great chamber, so you've already done that before. Vote green just like you did before, and we'll be great. Thank you so much.
That was a veteran move right there. Any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure or the amendment? Chair sees none. We'll take up amendment number 1 first. Is there objection to adoption of amendment number 1? The chair hears none, and amendment number 1 is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Question on the passage of the bill as amended. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed as amended. Chair recognizes the senator from the 28th for a motion.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that H.R. 594 be aggrandized from the table.
What was that verb?
Aggrandized. I looked it up.
I'll take.
It's a synonym of elevate.
Okay.
Or raise.
We're going to go with elevate. Ms.
Thank you,
Secretary,
Google.
please read the caption of House Resolution 594.
House Resolution 594, A resolution by Representative Smith of the 7th and others. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the State of Georgia so as to provide that county and municipal governing authorities shall be authorized to grant temporary tax relief to properties severely damaged or destroyed as a result of a disaster and located within a nationally declared disaster area and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance recommends that this resolution do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Huff-Settler, the 52nd District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from the 28th has asked us to do something I think close to elevate. House Resolution 594 from the table. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is taken off the table. The chair recognizes the senator from the 28th to speak to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to bring you H.R. 594, which my representative, the great Lynn Smith of the 70th District, my home house district, and she's also my neighbor, has brought forth this great legislation. And just to give you a little backstory on this legislation, when the EF4 tornado hit Noonan, Georgia, back in March of last year, we learned that there was going to be a problem because in January, your taxes on your property are locked in for the entire year. So your property is assessed with a house, and a lot of these people, in fact 77 to be exact, had no house once March came along and once that tornado hit. And so what this bill simply does is it gives our local authorities, our governing authorities, whether it be your county, municipality, or any consolidated government or Board of Education, it gives them the ability to grant temporary tax relief to properties within its jurisdiction which are severely damaged or destroyed as a result of a disaster and located within a nationally declared disaster area. So this bill is not even going to help Noonan, Georgia, not with that. And that's why the great Representative Lynn Smith has declared this the Pay It Forward bill. We don't want other communities to run into this issue that we are running into now. And so this is a constitutional amendment. This will go to the voters to decide if this is a good thing to do. But I would encourage each and every one of you to support this great piece of legislation brought by this great lady, my friend, my mentor. She's kind of my mama, too. And I will yield for questions.
Chair recognizes the majority leader to your left.
I didn't really think I'd have any.
Thank you, Senator, and I do support what you're trying to do here, but it concerns me with your choice of word to bring this off the table. It literally means to, I got to get the millennial to get it back here, to enhance the reputation beyond what is justified by the facts.
You're using your default browser. If you'll go to Safari and use Google, it will teach you that it means to bring to a higher status.
Increase in power or status, but regardless, I do support your bill. Is that not true?
I didn't yield for that one.
I no longer support your bill.
Is that a caucus position?
Ooh. I yield for another question to the majority leader.
Do I support your bill? Yes.
Of course you do.
You have no more questions.
You sure? All right.
Positive.
Thank you, Representative Smith. Love you.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against House Resolution 594? The chair sees none. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the adoption of the resolution. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the adoption of the resolution, the yeas are 55, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received the requisite 2/3 constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Way to save it. Chair recognizes the senator from the 17th for a motion.
Mr. President, I move the Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 612 as amended by the Senate.
Mr. Secretary, can you please read the caption?
Senate Bill 612, a bill by Senators Jones of the 10th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to provide a new charter for the city of Stockbridge, approved April 4th, 1991, is amended so as to change the corporate limits of such municipality, to provide for city council districts, to provide definitions and inclusions, to provide for the continuance in office for current members, to provide for related matters and further purposes. Mr. President, Senator Strickland of the 17th and others offer the following amendment to amend the substitute to Senate Bill 612 by replacing lines 16 through 122 with the following. User S017, plan name Stockbridge, Annex REV 2022, plan type local, and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 17th to speak to his motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know it's April 1st, but it is true. I'm back with a Stockbridge Eagles Landing bill. No, in all seriousness, Senator Jones and I have been working on a bill that's going to deal with annexation law for Stockbridge, and we've worked with the House, and we come up with a final version here. It's a local bill, but had to come back before you, so we asked for support for Senate Bill 612. Everybody's in agreement, right, Senator? Absolutely.
You have a question. Chair recognizes the senator from the 10th to your right.
Senator, isn't it true that I appreciate your efforts on putting together these new boundaries for Stockbridge and would encourage all of us to support what you're doing?
Yes, sir. I appreciate your help with this.
Thank you.
How full circle we've come.
I know, we've come a long way. I'll yield the well.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against the motion? The chair sees none. The senator from the 17th has moved that this Senate agree to the House substitute to Senate Bill 612 as amended by the Senate. All those in favor vote yea, opposed nay. The Secretary will unlock the machine. On the motion, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0, and the Senate has agreed to the House substitute to Senate Bill 612 as amended by the Senate. All right, now we're going to start working off of list number 2. List number 2 that should be on your desk. Chair recognizes the senator from the 28th.
Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 27th.
Without objection, the senator from the 27th is excused. Chair continues to recognize the senator from the 28th.
Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent that HB 322 be ennobled from the table.
What is that again?
Ennobled. E-N-N-O-B-L-E-D.
Mr. Secretary, please read the caption while we Google that term.
House Bill 322, a bill by Representatives Widerer of the 119th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 11 of Title 15 of Title 19 and Article 2 of Chapter 5 of Title 49 of the OCGA relating to general provisions regarding the general juvenile code, domestic relations, and child abuse records, respectively, so as to revise the definition of sexual exploitation within and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that offers the following substitute to House Bill 322, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 11 of Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the OCGA relating to the Georgia Child Advocate for the Protection of Children Act, so as to revise and for other purposes. Mr. President, Senators Brass of the 28th and others offer the following amendment to amend the Senate Committee on Judiciary substitute to House Bill 322 by inserting after proceedings on line 5 the following: to amend Code Section 15-11-103 of the OCGA relating to right to attorney independency proceedings and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
The Rules Chairman was up here trying to correct your grammar, but I didn't take it for much advice. Senator from the 28th has done something to raise up off the table House Bill 322. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is taken off the table. The chair recognizes the senator from the 28th to speak to the motion and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of this body, all of you. I bring you HB 322. This bill simply gives the Office of the Child Advocate the duty of training to ensure quality representation for children and parents in hearings. Would you like me to go ahead and well, I'll go ahead and discuss the amendment as well. Simply, this is a department bill, and all we're doing is saying that any child receiving extended care youth services from DFACS shall have an attorney appointed to them, and I'll yield for questions.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 17th with a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield.
I yield.
Senator, you said this was a department bill. Which department did this bill come from?
DHS and DFACS. The amendment.
Okay, do you further yield?
I yield.
And so in the underlying bill on line 35, do you have it in front of you?
I do.
It has this bill becoming effective basically January 1st, 2023. Do you know why we're waiting until then?
No.
Do you further yield?
Yes.
Can we slow things down just a little bit?
Yes. We're going to slow it down to 2023.
Do you further yield?
Yes.
The underlying bill itself is also the department bill, correct?
That is my understanding as of now.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes your teammate, the senator from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Yield.
Sure.
Senator, is it not true that this is a committee substitute?
That is correct.
Isn't a committee substitute usually green?
No, it's not. There's no S on here. There's no sub.
Furthermore, is it not true that you've also been very involved in helping SAGs, special appointed attorney generals, in DFACS hearings?
Against a really uphill battle, I have.
Is it not
fought
true
my
that they,
hardest.
thank you, does Senator further yield?
I yield.
Is it not true that they've also asked for, provided some tangible,
Oh, I took the wrong bill.
some tangible ways that we possibly could help them move temporary hearings, termination of parental rights hearings faster?
That is the goal.
There's an amendment that you're going to see really soon that was provided by one of them to move that those hearings faster. Would you be supportive of such an amendment?
Anything that's going to speed up this process, I'm all for it.
Thank you so much.
And I trust your judgment on most things.
Will the senator further yield?
I yield.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry we had to slow you down today, but we were trying to get that amendment printed. So thank you for slowing down so we could speed the termination of parental rights hearings up faster.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I slowed myself down when I brought the pink sheet up here. Do I need to slow down more? Or
Chair-
I will slow down more if need be.
We're going to slow you down for a minute here. Chair recognizes the senator from the 29th with a question.
Does Senator yield?
Yes.
Senator, the amendment that our colleagues slowed the process down in order to get is where on line 11 and 12 it says the court shall appoint an attorney for an alleged dependent child, and then the amendment says that any child receiving extended care youth services from DFACS. Do we currently know how many children are receiving extended care youth services from the Department of Family and Children's Services?
I actually don't have that number in front of me.
Okay, so could this basically be a lawyer bill?
It could be, but I'm presenting it, so it's not.
So what would be the difference in providing an attorney for a dependent child and any other child receiving extended youth services from the Department of Family and Children's Services? Is there a distinction?
Repeat the question, please.
Yeah, I apologize. Does the Senator yield?
I yield.
Is there a distinction between a dependent child, an alleged dependent child, and any child receiving extended care youth services from the Department of Family and Children's Services?
I don't know the difference, but
Thank
I
you,
know
Senator.
there is one. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to add that language.
Thank you, Senator.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 20th for a question.
Senator Yield,
I yield.
I'm not sure about this, but might the extended care be for a child that has aged out at 18 and is elected to stay in the system?
That could be possible. That's a good point, Senator, and I appreciate you bringing that up. After further reading, I do think that's what that means.
You have no more questions.
Thank you. I urge your favorable consideration of everything I just presented.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 322 or Amendments 1 and 2? Ms. Secretary, can you please read the amendment number 2 from the senator from the 19th?
Mr. President, Senator Tillery from the 19th offers the following amendment number 2 to amend House Bill 322 committee sub by adding after line 57, Part 3 of Article 4 of Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the OCGA to add Code Section 15-11-281A1 and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 19th to speak to amendment number 2.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I want to thank the senator from the 28th for his help on the underlying bill. Just to add a little bit of clarity, amendment number 1, and I apologize to the senator from the 29th if he thought that was my amendment. Amendment number 1 is actually agency bill. It's House Bill 1234, which did not make it out of rules. What House Bill 1234, amendment number 1 does is actually this, and this is why we would try to provide attorneys in this situation. Our goal is to keep children from coming into DFACS care. So by allowing us to help children who are receiving extended care youth services, we're able to potentially stabilize families before those children end up being, as I've talked to you about before, essentially our children, wards of us, the state. So that's amendment number 1. Amendment number 2, we have some budget language that may stay in the conference committee report, who knows, that requires juvenile courts to move dependency cases faster. As we talked with you about before, we want to make sure that those children have an opportunity to be adopted before they age out of the system. One of the very tangible results that was supplied to us by one of the SAGs was that one of the reasons why her cases personally slowed down was she did not have notice of the hearings. We don't have a set procedure in code that required her to get that notice, so she was finding out when the clerk was scheduling. What amendment number 2 does is amends OCGA 1511-281 by adding a 1.a that says the clerk shall give counsel a hearing date within the time provided by OCGA 1511-301A, which is that original 90-day period, at the time of the filing of a termination proceeding or petition. This was provided by SAGs, who were actually very, very helpful in trying to help us move these cases along. And I feel that if someone's going to try to help our body do that, that we owe them the opportunity to try to pass that rule. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll yield for any questions.
You have no questions.
Appreciate your favorable consideration of amendment number 2.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 322 or either of the amendments? The chair sees none. All right, we'll take up the adoption of the amendments. Is there objection to adoption of amendment number 1? The chair hears none, and amendment number 1 is adopted. Is there objection to adoption of amendment number 2? The chair hears none, and amendment number 2 is adopted. The question now is on the adoption of the committee substitute as amended. Is there objection to adoption of the committee sub as amended? Chair hears none, and the committee substitute as amended is adopted. Is there objection to agree on the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Question on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 53, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Chair recognizes the senator from the 50th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to remove from the table House Bill 1188.
Ms. Secretary, please read the caption.
House Bill 1188, a bill by Representative Lott of the 122nd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 16-6-4 of the OCGA relating to child molestation and aggravated child molestation, so as to provide that each act of child molestation shall be charged as a separate offense, to amend Code Section 16-12-100 of the OCGA relating to sexual exploitation of children, reporting violation, civil forfeiture, and penalties, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Rules recommends that this do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Mullis of the 53rd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Rules offers the following substitute to House Bill 1188. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 16-6-4 of the OCGA relating to child molestation and aggravated child molestation, so as to provide that each act of child molestation shall be charged as a separate offense and for other purposes. Mr. President, Senator Jordan of the 6th offers the following amendment to amend House Bill 1188 by inserting after depiction on line 6 the following: to amend Article 2 of Chapter 1 of Title 42 of the OCGA relating to Sexual Offender Registration Review Board and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
For what purpose does the senator from the 8th rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a trick played on me by the senator from the 7th. I apologize.
Go figure. I don't know how he reached the button. Senator from the 50th has asked that House Bill 1188 be taken off the table. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and 1188 is off the table. The chair recognizes the senator from the 50th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to bring House Bill 1188. House Bill 1188 is a governor's bill, and it further recognizes Governor Kemp and the First Lady's commitment to fighting against sex trafficking and protecting the children of the state of Georgia. What this bill does is corrects a mistake in the code which the Supreme Court of Georgia has interpreted using the textualist approach. And now we're going to bring it up to align with the original legislative intent, which was that if you are in possession of multiple images of child pornography, you can be charged with each image that you possess. Also with child molestation, if you molest a child multiple times, you can be charged multiple times for molesting that child. Right now, whether you have 1 or 1,000 images or whether you molest a child multiple times, you can only be charged once. There was also an amendment that was offered the other day that we are in favor of. However, it's my understanding that the amendment will be removed because we actually incorporated that amendment into the committee substitute. What that amendment does is it prevents a convicted child molester from communicating with a minor over a social media platform, which right now is not in Georgia code. So I would ask for your favorable consideration and we'll yield for questions.
You have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
The chair recognizes the senator from the 6th, or would the senator from the 6th like to be recognized? Chair recognizes the senator from the 6th.
Yes, I ask for, Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent to withdraw amendment number 1 to HB 1188.
Senator from the 6th has asked for unanimous consent that amendment number 1 be withdrawn. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is withdrawn. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 1188? The chair now recognizes the senator from the 6th to speak to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very quickly, I rise in support of the Rules Committee substitute, which incorporates the amendment I just withdrew. As the senator from the 50th said, keeping children and families safe has to be our first priority, and prohibiting sexually dangerous predators from using social media sites to target children is really a common sense thing. I appreciate the senator from the 50th with working for me, because at the end of the day, we're all here for the same thing. I yield the well.
Senator has yielded the well. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 1188? The chair sees none. The question's on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to adoption of the committee sub? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question on the passage of the bill by substitute. All in favor, vote yea. Opposed, nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Chair recognizes the senator from the 51st.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that we remove House Resolution 820 from the table.
Ms. Secretary, can you please read the caption?
House Resolution 820, a resolution by Representative England of the 116th, a resolution honoring the life of Mr. James J. Boss and dedicating an intersection in his memory and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Transportation recommends that this resolution do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ginn of the 47th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Transportation Committee offers the following substitute to House Resolution 820, a resolution dedicating certain portions of the state highway system and for other purposes. That completes the order. Additionally, Senators Davenport of the 44th and others offer the following amendment to amend the Senate Transportation Committee substitute to House Resolution 820 by replacing Jesse Blaylock Sr. with Jesse Thomas Blaylock on lines 486, 628, and 656. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from the 51st has asked for House Resolution 820 to be taken from the table. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it's removed from the table. The chair now recognizes the senator from the 51st to speak to House Resolution 820.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, this is our annual housekeeping bill for road naming resolutions. As all of you know by now, if you have a road naming resolution in the Senate this year, there's a good chance that that resolution will be combined with the House resolutions, and some of those are in this resolution here tonight, so take a look at that. But I'd like to draw your attention to one in particular. It's section 18, which begins on lines 526 and runs through lines 549, and then further on in the back on lines 633 through 635. The reason this is being brought to your attention is because we're honoring one of our own. We're honoring our Senator Jeff Mullis for his years of service in the Georgia Senate by naming a road in his honor in his district. The good news is, Senator, it's not a memorial naming. It's in your honor of all of your hard work in the Georgia Senate.
Is it a paved road or a dirt road?
It could be a dirt road. I question whether it was in front of a landfill or maybe a wastewater plant, but I understand that it's actually at the intersection of State Route 341 and Lee Clarkson Road in Walker County. So this intersection will forever be dedicated in the honor of Senator Jeff Mullis. So y'all give this man a 100% vote on this resolution along with all the other resolutions, and let's give him another round of applause for all of his years of service.
What are we doing?
Mr. President, I'll yield the well.
Senator has yielded the well. Chair recognizes the senator from the 44th to speak to her amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This amendment just simply replaces Jesse Blaylock Sr. with Jesse Thomas Blaylock on lines 486, 628, and 656. So it's just a name change from Jesse Blaylock Sr. to Jesse Thomas Blaylock. Are there questions?
You have no questions.
Thank you very much. I ask for your support for this amendment. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 47th to speak to his amendment. Mr. Secretary, read it while he's walking up here.
Mr. President, Senator Ginn of the 47th offers the following amendment to amend the Senate Transportation Committee substitute to House Resolution 820 by replacing line 1 with the following: dedicating certain portions of the state highway system to provide for an effective date, to repeal conflicting laws, and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. This will be short. Said the department requested this amendment. They just changed a little time schedule and effective date. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 47th from his desk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for permission to withdraw amendment number 2.
Senator from the 47th has asked
Consent.
for unanimous consent to withdraw amendment number 2. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and amendment number 2 is withdrawn. For what purpose does the senator from the 53rd rise?
Thank you, President, and I am so honored again by this body, and would like to. I don't really like that intersection. I'm kidding. They dared me to say that. I would like to ask unanimous consent to not vote on this because of conflict of interest by invoking Senate Rule 5-1.8.
Is there objection to the senator of the 53rd excusing himself from this vote? The chair hears none, and the senator is excused. I'm looking at Google Earth, and it looks like a pretty small intersection. Any other senator wish to speak for or against House Resolution 820? Chair sees none. All right, first we'll take up the adoption of amendment number 1. Is there objection to adoption of amendment number 1? Chair hears none, and amendment number 1 is adopted. Question now is on the adoption of the committee substitute as amended. Is there objection to adoption of the committee sub as amended? The chair hears none, and the committee substitute is amended. Is adopted. Is there objection to agree to the report of the committee which is favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, the report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the adoption of the resolution by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the adoption of the resolution by substitute, the yeas are 50, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted by substitute. That was easy. All right, you now have a supplemental calendar of local bills before you. Mr. Secretary, are there any objections filed to any bills on the local supplemental consent calendar?
Mr. President, no objections have been filed.
All of this is found on your desk. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the Committee on State and Local Government, which is favorable to the passage of the bills on the local supplemental consent calendar? The chair hears none, and the report of the committee is agreed to. Question now is on the passage of the bills on the local consent calendar. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bills on the supplemental local consent calendar, the yeas are 49, the nays are 1. and the bills having received the requisite constitutional majority are therefore passed. Chair recognizes the senator from the 50th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to remove from the table House Bill 1216.
Ms. Secretary, can you please read the caption?
House Bill 1216, a bill by Representative McDonald of the 26th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend to Article 15 of Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the OCGA relating to serious traffic offenses, so as to provide for enhanced penalties for violations of fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, to provide for enhanced penalties for fleeing or eluding a police officer during the commission of certain crimes and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Judiciary Committee offers the following substitute to House Bill 1216. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 15 of Chapter 6 of Title 40 of the OCGA relating to serious traffic offenses, so as to provide for enhanced penalties for violations of fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer and for other purposes.
Tillery, amendment number 1. Just read it as best you can.
Mr. President, Senators Tillery of the 19th and others offer the following amendment number 1 to amend the committee substitute to House Bill 1216. By striking an individual who immediately reduces his or her vehicle's speed to below on line 20, and by striking lines 21 and 22. That completes the order, Mr. President.
For what purpose does the senator from the 43rd rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 44th.
Without objection, the senator from the 44th is excused. Senator from the 50th is asked that House Bill 1216 be taken from the table. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it is removed from the table. The chair now recognizes the senator from the 50th to present the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to bring House Bill 1216. House Bill 1216 increases the punishment for offenders who decide to flee in a vehicle from law enforcement officers. As all of you know, and some of you may have personally experienced, when someone makes the choice to flee from a police officer, that decision not only puts the officer in danger, but it also endangers everyone on our streets and roadways. Georgia State Patrol is here today, and they can tell you that running from law enforcement has become somewhat of a game for offenders. This bill will reinforce how seriously the state of Georgia takes this reckless, dangerous, and deadly behavior. Under current Georgia law, fleeing and eluding a law enforcement officer is an aggravated misdemeanor unless the offender commits certain other offenses while fleeing and eluding, in which case it's a felony. House Bill 1216 increases the penalties for first, second, and third offense of fleeing and eluding and makes a fourth or subsequent offense a felony. Specifically, the first offense is increased from $500 to $1,000 penalty, second from $1,000 to $2,500, third $2,500 to $4,000, and the fourth offense, now a felony, fine not less than $5,000 or more than $10,000. As I mentioned before, current law provides that if an offender commits certain other offenses while they are fleeing and eluding, they are guilty of a felony. House Bill 1216 adds the following to that list of offenses: causing the accident of another vehicle, driving on a sidewalk, overtaking a stopped school bus with its signals out, lane drag, reckless driving, and reckless stunt driving. Additionally, a friendly amendment was made during a House subcommittee to include all forms of DUI as an offense which would elevate fleeing and eluding to a felony. Pursuant to Georgia law, there are various forms in which a person may be charged with a DUI, including driving while under the influence of alcohol, under the influence of any drug, under the intentional influence of any glue, aerosol, or other toxic vapor, under the combined influence of any two or more of the prior categories to the extent that it is less safe for the person to drive, the person's alcohol concentration is .08 or higher, or there is any amount of marijuana or a controlled substance. Under current Georgia law, the code section being discussed here only allows for a DUI where the offender was under the influence of alcohol with a BAC of .08 or greater to be elevated to a felony if the offender was fleeing and eluding while under the influence. Now, with the amendment, persons driving under the influence of other drugs or alcohol to the point that it is unsafe to drive will also be faced with felony, fleeing, and eluding. House Bill 1216 also makes a small change to include the use of blue lights as an action which can constitute the unlawful impersonation of a law enforcement officer. Finally, an additional amendment was made in the Senate Judiciary Committee which would ensure that individuals who continue driving until they reach a safe area of the road to pull over for an officer could not be charged with fleeing and eluding. Now, I agree 100% with the intent of that amendment, but after further discussion, investigation, that is already in our current code. It's found in OCGA 40-8-91. So for the sake of not being duplicative, I would ask that you support the amendment to strike that section because it is already in current code. And Mr. President, I'll yield for any questions.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 7th with a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the gentleman yield?
I will.
Is it not true that this underlying bill is important for law enforcement in our state for them to be able to do their job?
Yes, it is. Very.
And is it further not true that these folks who are trying to elude a police officer are only making their way the only way that they know how, and that it's just a little more than the law will allow, and that under this bill we're tightening that up so the law will only allow a little bit less, and that means it is a really good bill?
The senator knows of which he speaks.
Thank you, Senator.
You have no more questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 19th to speak to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the senator from the 50th. I think he probably explained it better than I did. One of the things we were concerned about in the Judiciary Committee is we've heard from many citizens that get concerned when officers are behind them or they think they're officers. They're concerned that maybe they aren't officers because of a recent string of attacks that may have happened in other areas around our state. So the Judiciary Committee added language that said what happens if an officer is behind you and how you can avoid being charged with fleeing, and that would be to slow down, put on what I call flashers, but apparently are called hazard lights, among other things, and then moving immediately to your to a lighted area. So we added that as an amendment in Judiciary. The senator from the 50th, along with our Georgia State Patrol, were able to come and actually tell us that is code already. It is already in the code. So this is really just a public service announcement to tell you, if you are talking to your constituents, what you're supposed to do is reduce your speed below the speed limit, put on your hazard lights, acknowledging that you are aware that they're wanting you to pull over, and to immediately go to the next lighted area. Since that's already law, we don't need to put it into this bill. We're going to strip it off, which will mean that passage here is a final agree. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 1216 or Amendment Number 1? The chair sees none. We'll take up the adoption of Amendment Number 1. Is there objection to adoption of Amendment Number 1? Is there objection? There is objection. All those in favor of adoption of Amendment Number 1 vote yea. There is no objection. Let's just do this one more time. Is there objection to Amendment Number 1? The chair hears none, and Amendment Number 1 is adopted. Question now is on the adoption of the committee substitute as amended. Is there objection to adoption of the committee substitute? Chair hears none, and the committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agree to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 40, the nays are 12. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Chair recognizes the senator from the 55th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to very gently remove Senate Bill 937 from the table because of its delicate nature.
Much better explained than the senator from the 28th's elaborate grammar scheme. Mr. Secretary, can you please read the caption of House Bill 937?
House Bill 937, a bill by Representative Henderson of the 113th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 7 of Chapter 4 of Title 49 of the OCGA relating to medical assistance generally so as to provide for Medicaid coverage for annual mammograms at no cost to the recipient and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Watson of the 1st District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
The minority leader has asked for House Bill 937 to be delicately lifted off the table for very specific reasons. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, and it is off the table. Chair recognizes the minority leader to speak to House Bill 937.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a very simple and easy bill to vote for. The representative in the House explained to us that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer 4 months ago. And if she had not had an early exam, they would not have been able to identify that she had cancer. So, insurance companies are required to contact women at the age of 40, when they reach 40, to please come and have their mammograms. So I request your delegate vote for House Bill 937. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 937? The chair sees none. Is there objection to agreeing with the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 49, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. What purpose does the senator from the 36th rise?
Mr. President, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 35th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 35th is excused. Chair recognizes the senator from the 28th for a motion.
Mr. President, ask for unanimous consent that HB 972 be boosted from the table.
I understand boosted.
I had to dummy it down for you, Mr. President.
Ms. Secretary, I went to Georgia Tech. What do you expect, right? Ms. Secretary, please read the caption, House Bill 972.
House Bill 972, a bill by Representative Belton of the 112th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 10A of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to licensing provisions regarding professional counselors, social workers, and marriage and family therapists, so as to change certain definitions to provide for an additional member of the Georgia Composite Board of Professional Counselors, social workers, and marriage and family therapists, and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities recommend that this bill do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kauser of the 46th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities offers the following substitute to House Bill 972. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 10A of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to professional counselors, social workers, and marriage and family therapists, so as to change certain licensing provisions to revise definitions and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from the 28th has asked that House Bill 972 be boosted from the table. Is there objection? The chair sees none, and House Bill 972 is off the table. The chair recognizes the senator from the 28th to calmly walk towards the rostrum or the well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of this body, I bring you HB 972. And this bill simply lowers red tape and increases access for licensed professional counselors to get on the battlefield and enter our war against mental health disease. With your help, 1,700 counselors become licensed and ready to fight the good fight. With your help, another 2,600 stand ready to enter the workforce. We were the first state to pass the compact, and without these updates, we won't even be able to take part in that compact. So I urge your support for HB 972. I yield for questions.
You have none.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 2nd to speak to the measure.
Good afternoon, my esteemed colleagues. House Bill 972 is extremely important. We at war with mental health. This bill puts 1,700 professional counselors on the battlefield to combat mental health. We talk about lack of healthcare professionals. When we passed this bill, we put 1,700 healthcare professionals on the battlefield to fight mental health. It's so valuable for us. It's valuable to the people of this great state. We need it. This is not a partisan issue. This is just good politics. This is good health care for all citizens of Georgia. And I urge everyone to vote in favor of House Bill 972. Mr. President, I yield the well.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 972? The chair sees none. The question's on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to adoption of the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 48, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Chair recognizes the senator from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to rip House Bill 56 from the table.
Ms. Secretary, please read the caption of House Bill 56.
House Bill 56, a bill by Representative Cantrell of the 22nd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 15-6-2 of the OCGA relating to the number of judges of superior courts so as to provide for an additional judge of the superior courts of the Blue Ridge Judicial Circuit and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary offers the following substitute to House Bill 56. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 15-6-2 of the OCGA relating to the number of judges of superior courts so as to provide for an additional judge of the Superior Court of the Blue Ridge Judicial Circuit and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Senator from the 14th has asked that House Bill 56 be ripped off the table. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it is off the table. The chair recognizes the senator from the 14th to speak to the measure.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill provides for an appointment of an additional judge to the Superior Court of Blue Ridge Judicial Circuit, raising the total number of Superior Court judges in this circuit from 3 to 4. This bill comes at the request of our incredible DA, Shannon Wallace, and my dear friend and your dear friend from the House District 22, that's also retiring from the General Assembly. I ask your favorable consideration for the bill, and I yield it well.
Any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 56? Chair hears none. The questions on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection to adoption of the committee substitute? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? Chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question on the passage of the bill by substitute. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed by substitute. Chair recognizes the senator from the 28th.
Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent that HB 1441 be hoisted from the table.
Well done. Mr. Secretary, please read the caption of House Bill 1441.
House Bill 1441, a bill by Representative Collins of the 68th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 38 of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to operators of private detective businesses and private security businesses, so as to exempt a certified peace officer employed by a licensed private detective businesses or private security business as an independent contractor from requirements and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Regulated Industries and Utilities recommend that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Kauser of the 46th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
The creative senator from the 28th has asked for unanimous consent that House Bill 1441 be hoisted off the table. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and the senator from the 28th is welcome to come to the well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since it's getting close to the dinner hour, I'll be brief. This bill simply exempts post-certified officers from having to register with the Secretary of State's office to be a private security guard or a private investigator, as long as they're working directly under one that is. I'll yield for questions. Thank you.
Any other senator wish to speak? What'd you say? No, you had none. Chair, any other senator wish to speak for or against House Bill 1441? Chair hears none. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Question on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed nay. Secretary, unlock the machine. State your inquiry.
Is it not true that I'm done tonight? With bills.
Is it not true that we're all praising God? On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair recognizes the senator from the 1st for a motion.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate adhere to its substitute to House Bill 1425 and that a conference committee be appointed.
Mr. Secretary, will you please read the caption of House Bill 1425?
House Bill 1425, a bill by Representatives Werkheiser of the 157 and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 9 of Chapter 12 of Title 16 of the OCGA relating to access to medical cannabis so as to authorize the governor to initial to Class 1 and Class 2 production licenses for a limited time period to provide for automatic repeal and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
That was awesome. The very confident and bold-sounding senator from the 1st has moved that the Senate adhere to its substitute to House Bill 1425 and that a conference committee be appointed. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and we're going to send the senators from the 1st, the 11th, and the 17th to adhere to our position. The chair recognizes the senator from the 14th with a very, very important motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. on Tuesday, May 24th. Oh.
We give you one shot for the adjournment.
Monday, April 4th. 10
Mr.
a.m.
Secretary, do you have any great announcements you'd like to make?
No announcements. That completes the order, Mr.
Does
President.
any senators wish to make an announcement at this? We do have an important announcement. Okay.
Dinner will be served in the Senate file room. The Secretary of the Senate's back office.
Chair recognizes the pro tem to finish up that announcement.
Thank you very much, young lady. Dinner is going to be served Maggiano's down the hall, at the end of the hall in the Secretary of the Senate's office. We have a plethora, a smorgasbord of food. Go down and make yourself at home. Thank y'all.
The senator, for what purpose does the majority leader rise?
Mr. President, it's just to say that we covered over half of the 90 bills that we had on our calendar today. I think the House may have finally reached double digits, but is it not true that we've done phenomenal work and way out past our friends from across the building?
This group of 56 senators has worked well today together. Thank you for your great work. Have a great weekend. Rest up. Rumor has it we're going to have a long Monday. The senator from the 14th has moved that the Senate stands adjourned until Monday, April 4th, 2022 at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it, and I'm going home. Senate stands adjourned. Great work.